Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, you are having a wonderful weekend and getting some time to relax and rejuvenate. This week, you have a lot of reading, a lot of studying to do, but a lot of really interesting reading. I think all of brain based research is fascinating. But you have some great reading this week about emotional intelligence. And it's nothing new that we haven't been talking about before, but we're going to go into more depth about emotional intelligence, about multiple intelligence theories, and how these things can really benefit you as an educator in your classroom. And we've all experienced times in our life where our emotions may be intense. And, and this is as a teacher and as a student. But I want you to take a moment and think of a time that you were in the classroom teaching, or you were in a meeting with your colleagues, or professional development, something like that. And you were really, really emotional about something outside of work, really worked up about something outside of work. And although you were putting on this brave face in the classroom, or in the meeting, or in the professional development, think back for a moment, and you might get a little bit anxious thinking about it. Think back for a moment and try to remember everything you were doing that day, what you were teaching in the classroom, or how you were behaving with the students, or what the meeting was that you couldn't focus, or the professional development you couldn't focus. And I just want you to take that feeling for a moment to remind yourself how emotions can influence what we are learning, what we are doing, and that most of us do not do well when emotions are heightened in an intense way, when we're trying to pick up something and really learn it, really, really learn it. And you may have had that experience just recently in the master's program. There might have been something going on at home or at work that you were so focused on that it became difficult to read, or it became difficult to watch the videos. It became difficult to sit still or get an assignment done. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. And on a personal note, you noticed, I'm sure, that I didn't grade on Monday like I always do and have everything graded right away with feedback. And I'm sure you were going, "What happened to Professor Wood this week? Where is she?" Or maybe you weren't. Maybe you were focused on your own life and you were worried about it. But I had a very emotional week. I had a very, very emotional week. And I decided, after a very beautiful and wonderful 28-year career in high school teaching, to retire. And I retired on Friday. I retired at 1 o'clock on Friday. And now you're looking at me closely, seeing if I've changed, see even if I've transformed. But it was a really emotional week, and I did it. I did it very quietly. Um, I talked it through with a few people that I felt very comfortable with, and that I felt would give me honest feedback about my decisions and what I was doing. And then all week long, whenever I tried to grade or work or do anything, I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus. I was just spinning with so many major life choices, um, that I had to let my expectations go. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you and asking you to think back at a time when you were very emotional and something was going on is that our students deal with that every day. We don't know. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't, from pre K all the way through college. We have no idea what's going on in somebody's personal life that may influence their emotions in a way that makes it quite difficult to learn, to sit still, to not look at their phone, to not walk outside, to not want immediate answers. Okay? And it's hard enough for adults to be able to manage these emotional moments. But now look at it as a child who may not have been brought up with the skills to be able to express themselves or handle things in a way that without socio-emotional learning, they may really be struggling to be in the classroom, be in the moment, be in the education. Okay. And so we as educators, we want to look over these practices. And even if our school isn't officially running like a socio-emotional program, we want to make sure that we are sharing information and modeling in a way that students understand that we struggle with this too, that we struggle with this too. Okay. A lot of times kids just think we're perfect. They think we've never struggled with education. They think we've never struggled in life. They see us up there like it's like, robotic. And it's really important to share those things and share them in a way that is, right for the grade level, and also to help them build skills, show them how to build skills to be successful or to deal with emotions. So I think this week there's a lot of great reading, and you're going to be really, really interested in it. And there's a lot to look over, but I just want to bring to your attention the video, The Power of Relationships in Schools. And the reason why I want to bring that to your attention is because most of you have seen a change in socio emotional with students and community since the pandemic. And we're having to rebuild these relationships of trust and compassion and emotional empathy to help students come back to the classroom and to feel safe again and connected with adults. And, simple things that you can do as an educator in a classroom is you can create a joyous space, you can create a welcoming space. You can have, your specific routines to start the day. You'll see in the video, it's a teacher, Falcon's her name, and she's greeting her young students at the door. And you'll notice she's right in the way of the door. Like they have to greet her before coming in. And I appreciate that. And that obviously works well in her classroom. For me, for my seniors, for my high school students, I don't bar the door and insist that they have a greeting with me as they come in. I find ways to be out in front of the door and greet them or joke or call their nicknames or and just kind of assess the temperature of what's going on emotionally with each of my students as they come in. And then if I need to address someone individually, it's easier after I get everybody inside. And I usually say something like, hey, Fred, can you come out and help me for a minute? So it's not, hey, Fred, can you come here for a minute, please? Because that immediately puts even more emotion. You know that. Even when you're going to say something nice to your student, they'll panic sometimes and get even more, even more emotional, and you don't want that. There's nothing wrong with emotions, as we know. We just want to help kids manage these emotions, especially after the pandemic. Especially after the pandemic, it's so important to bring that back to the classroom. So focus on that for sure. I want you to look at that video and really kind of take that in. I was looking this morning, I was watching a video of Dilys Price, and I'm not sure if you know who she is. She passed away in 2020, which always makes me sad. She was a Welsh educator, and she was the oldest skydiver, I think female, maybe oldest skydiver period in the world. And if you ever get a chance to watch Dilys talk about how she taught with her students, she was terribly afraid of heights. And her college students decided that they were going to skydive. And she was like, that's it. I'm doing it with them. And she faced her fears and she faced her emotions. And because she faced her fears and emotions, she moved on to new chapters in her life and served in education and in charity until her death. And so if you get a chance to look up Dillis Prize, get a chance to look up Dillis Prize. I know it's busy this week, but something to look at. So you're going to be looking at the definition of what is emotional intelligence, teaching for intelligence, 16 habits of mind. There's an article and there's a poster. You have an e-lesson that's going to go over everything with you step by step. You've got Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences to look at, which shows you ways. The theory is that people learn in specific ways, and that we teach in specific ways, and therefore we need to be aware of that as we're teaching, and look at these multiple intelligences. Okay. And then you've got some resources that you're going to be looking at. There's a lot of clips this week, so I want to make sure that you have a lot of time to look at it. And you're going to have interviews on emotional intelligence. It's all set up like begin, next, now, last. And I don't want to go too long in my video clips. You can always contact me if you need to know more. You know that. But it's a lot of reading this week, and you have your arts and movement project, which is due on Sunday, August 7th. Everything's there for the directions, the rubric. Follow it. It's just adding to what you've already been learning over the last 5 weeks, and it should be very easy for you to do. Okay? And I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to finish grading your work right now. And if you need me this week, please let me know. And just start considering, especially now we're getting ready. Most of you are getting ready to go back to your classroom. How can you, one, assess socio-emotional learning at your school, your department, okay, your classroom? What can you do? Simple things can you do to help social emotional learning in your classroom, and emotional intelligence? And looking over the 16 habits of mind, are there things that you could do in your classroom to meet those, or is that something that you could post? Um, Find ways to add it into your lessons and help students navigate their emotions. I can't say enough how important that is, especially as they move on through school. Okay? All right. Have a wonderful week. I look forward to looking at all of your work, and please email me if you need me. Take care. Bye bye.